We have sent over 48 million notifications till now, and these have landed to around 150,000 subscribers of Web3.
Awesome. That's amazing. When did the protocol launch?
Oh, that was 2021. In crypto
Awesome.
years, it's like 100 years since then. Uh,
Harsh from Push Protocol. Welcome to the What Kind of Internet Do You Want podcast. Really glad to have you today.
Really awesome to be here, Amy.
Awesome. To get things started, without getting into the details of Push itself, if you could just give us a brief background on who you are and why you work in Web3.
My name is Harish. I have around a decade worth of experience in mobile and communication and notification. I was there when Apple invented notification, which we all love and use. I was there when WhatsApp basically created messaging and then we moved to facing. And because I was a mobile entrepreneur, I kind of saw that phase. That was probably the start of my entrepreneurship and kind of a full circle to what I'm doing now. But yeah, that was around 2010, 2011. Around 2014, 15, I kind of grew bored with only just doing mobile. And of course, you only get to live once, right? So I wanted to try out different things. That led me to a path of trying different things. Like I went into marketing, I also dabbled into AI a bit. And at that point of time, Bitcoin was around $1,000 and it was making all the rage in India. And of course, I heard about this thing called Bitcoin and I was like, okay, good. I can become rich. Let me buy some Bitcoin. I bought some Bitcoin, and the moment I bought it, like within a week, it crashed to $200. That was my first intro to crypto and Web3. But yeah, it kind of made me very, very inquisitive about what is Bitcoin and what it can do. So I started reading more about it, kind of realized that it's smart money, or it's money that is not essentially regulated by someone, but it's a mathematical form of money. So got really interested, and at that point of time, I noticed that there were other tokens as well, apart from Bitcoin, that was coming in. And I also noticed that when these tokens used to launch on exchanges, their value used to go up depending on the exchanges they were in. So using that knowledge, created a basic bot, which I know is a arbitrage bot right now, wherein you buy from one exchange and then you sell on another exchange once the token gets listed. It performed decently well till 2017, 2018. I think that was when everyone noticed that this is a loophole you can exploit. So people just jumped in. So my bot kind of went dead after that. But around that point of time, it started picking up a lot of ERC20 coins, which spiked my interest. Like, what is ERC20? Uh, and that led me to discover Ethereum, because I realized, okay, there's this thing called Ethereum, which doesn't only have mathematical form of money, but the maths or the formula by which you can program that money can also be done through various tokens called ERC20. And I absolutely loved that, because I kind of saw that you can create so many cool things with it. Like a global bank can be created. Or, I kind of thought that maybe in some way or form, people can trade their social tokens or Web3 social can be formed. Of course, I didn't think like Web3 social like we see it over here, but it was kind of like what I thought this will be. So was very excited about this space. Wanted to get in because I had previous entrepreneur experience. I knew that before you can go into any industry, you need to learn the nooks and crooks of it. So using that knowledge, I joined a New York-based project who was into DeFi, was there from 2018 to the later part of 2019, and after that started Push. So that's basically how I got into Web3 and how I got into Push.
Okay, that makes sense. So it sounds like you kind of combined your experience in Web 2 with your experience in Web 3 to create Push. That's very cool. And that you've been in this space for kind of a long time now. So you've been through many bulls and bears, and you know that it's really about the technology. I love that.
Yes.
So if you could give us a high level overview of push and explain it like you would to a non-technical person to get things started, that would be great.
Sure. So, high level overview, and I've practiced this bit so many times, I always get it wrong, but hopefully this will be done right. So, push essentially enables communication between an app and their users, or between two users. It is very equivalent to what we do with our Web2 apps, wherein we get up in the morning and we'll have a look at our phone and we'll see notifications from all the important apps that we love and that we use. Whether it's Venmo or PayPal, whether it's important email, anything work related like Slack, any social thing that we are doing, tweets, any replies, all of this is driven by Web2 apps using notifications, which means that apps they send notification to their users saying that this might be very important for you and what do you want to do something about it. And using that experience uh, is what that guides our virtual day-to-day working. Like for example, this meeting was driven by Google Calendar sending me a notification, and with that notification I knew that I had to be in this interview and therefore I'm over here. So re-engagement is what notifications does, and that before push was only there in Web2 sense. But with push, what happened was that now Web3 equivalent apps, which are sometimes called protocols or sometimes called apps, now they are able to send notifications to Web3 users. Web3 users are essentially wallet address, because that random wallet address that we use, that is what we use to interact with any protocol. So that is the notification part, and that is how push debuted in the Web3 ecosystem. We started or we invented notifications for Web3. And then once you go a bit deeper, you realize that everything that we are doing is based on communication, right? After notifications, when we are talking to our friends or socializing, that's basically by sending a DM to someone on Twitter or by talking on WhatsApp. And that is something that push does by enabling wallet to wallet messaging. Again, wallet is your Web3 username. We didn't stop over there, but we went a bit ahead. So when we are talking face to face, like real time communication, we are doing it via video and audio call. And what push does is like the push video and audio protocol. It basically enables just that, like push spaces or video and audio calls, but for Web3 native users and following Web3 or mathematical guidelines.
So I think I get why push messages are really important because we, like you said, we get them on all of our devices all day long and through lots of different kinds of apps. And I think that that's something that's really frustrating about Web 2 is sometimes I'll be like, where was I talking with that person? Was it on Signal or Telegram or Messages or Twitter or and so then I have to try to go and find that chat. So would push be something where I have kind of like a global messaging system? And so if it's integrated in different Web3 applications, but you and I were talking, let's say, we got the conversation started on one kind of application, but then I wanted to go and look at it on another one, I would find the same chat
Exactly.
with you.
Exactly. So this is where Web3 shines a lot. Like Web3 and Web2 are different in this way that whatever we do, like whenever we are interacting with any protocol, we use the same wallet address. Like that wallet address that we might have on MetaMask or any other wallet, we basically use that to sign into this protocol or tab. And because of that, we call this as a shared username. And this is where push chat really shines, because this wallet address becomes your username now. And now your messages are tied to this wallet address and not to an app. So if you go somewhere else, you can still continue the conversation. And same with notifications. Like again, notifications are app reaching out to users. And this is also not tied to a single application. So when you opt in to receive notification from, let's say, Uniswap, now when this notification comes, it gets tied to your wallet address. And because it gets tied to your wallet address, any crypto wallet can now tap into this network in a secure and encrypted way and can show you all the things that you're doing on Web3. For example, we recently worked with Consistence and created a snap called Push Snap, and we launched it for MetaMask. So for the first time now, MetaMask has these notifications, which can now notify user when their loans are about to be liquidated, or when a governance proposal comes, or when an NFT creator launches a new collection of NFT. And not only that, because push chat is also here, they can talk to them and they can probably negotiate things, or they can send payments, or even basically form their own community using token gating.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's awesome. And for listeners, you can think of the way that they're using a wallet, sort of like we use single sign-on in Web 2. So it's like, when you sign in with Facebook or you sign in with Google, and you can do that across a bunch of different applications. That's kind of what the wallet is functioning as in this use of it. And that's really smart because, I mean, you're right that your wallet is kind of like in Web3, it is your identity in a way, or um, so let's get a little bit more into those technical details. I saw the MetaMask integration with Snaps. Congratulations. That's awesome. We just did a DPIN Daily segment last week about the Snaps thing. It's very cool. Let me just see if I understand how the technical details of push works, and then you can help correct me if I got it wrong. So it uses Solidity smart contracting running on, is it on Ethereum mainnet or is it on an L2?
It's actually across all EVMs, and it's compatible with non-EVMs as well. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. And it's using the IPFS network for message hosting. And then you don't have to pay to send messages, but you pay to open a channel as an anti-spam measure. Also very
Yes.
smart. Um, but then you actually are incentivized to send messages. You receive tokens for sending messages. And are the tokens that you're receiving, are they an ERC20 or are they something else?
Got it. So the last part is actually not true. It's kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
a misnomer, because when we started, we thought that we will incentivize everyone, but then we realized that protocols or apps that are sending notifications, they already have a win in this game theory, because they will get users to re-engage, and they will get users to pay more attention to their app or use more of their app features. So we kind of pivoted away from that, more so because we wanted to capture the entire Web3 layer, and having this incentivized mechanism across all Web3 is a really complex engineering task. So we kind of moved away from it. But most of it, it's exactly right. What it does is it not only provides you a way to interact with Solidity, which is a programming language that people use when they program on EVM, Ethereum being one of it. But not only does it operates on Solidity, it operates off chain as well. So it doesn't mean that only a protocol can send notification. In fact, CoinDesk and Bankless also uses push to send notification about their articles out. So as long as you have any content or any logic that you think is useful for a Web3 user, you can use push. No matter if you are a smart contract, no matter if you are a backend, doesn't matter. The way the thing is secured, or the way we make sure that when a notification is sent to someone, that is basically sent by someone who actually is the owner, or actually is Bankless or Coindesk, is by using cryptographical proofs. So what we do is, whenever someone sends a notification out, we ask them that if you're sending from a smart contract, send from a smart contract from which you have activated yourself on push protocol. And that is verification enough, right? Because we know that you are who you claim to be. But if you're sending from off chain, you kind of sign the message before you send it out. So you sign it with your Web3 username, which is the wallet address, and you send it out. Now, all these messages, notification and messages, they basically are getting sent to a set of nodes that are validator nodes. And their job is to validate that the message signature is valid. And if valid, then admit it in the network and basically tie it with the wallet address of the user for which it is meant to be. So that's the first part of it. The second part is that if you're a user, spam is something that we really, really don't want, because we are creating a global network of communication, which is like we don't want someone to claim to be Uniswap, or we don't want someone to get up and have like thousands notifications. So that is why we have anti-spam measures, wherein if you are a user and you want to receive notification from Coindesk or from Uniswap or from Aave or Polygon or whatever, I mean, we work with all of them. Uh, then what you have to do is you have to sign your consent, very much like when you install an app on phone and when you open, the app says, do you want to allow or do you want this app to send notification to you? Very similar to that, you have to do it, but in a Web3 way, wherein you are signing something which is a cryptographical or a mathematical proof, proving that you really wanted notification. Of course, as a user, you don't really need to go in the details, like the SDK handles everything. So you don't have to go into mathematical proof or not. You just have to click a button to sign it. And once you sign your consent, after that, notifications can make their way. And same thing with messaging. Like if I want to message you, uh, I can message you, but it will land in your request tab, like how you have on Twitter. And once you say yes, Harsh is someone I know, only then the chat will be enabled, or the chat with the native experience of notification would be enabled, wherein when I send a message to you, you will get that Harsh has sent you a message or Amy has sent me a message. So hopefully that was my best technical description of how push works.
Okay. Okay. I just have a few more technical details that, that kind of technical folks might be wondering. Um, is is it only supporting Ethereum addresses, or are other blockchain addresses supported?
Yes, so Push right now supports EVM addresses, not just Ethereum. So
Okay.
you can send notifications or chat from anywhere across EVM and it will land. Uh, we also have designed it to support non EVM addresses, though that feature we
Cool.
haven't opened to public yet. But yeah, the vision
But
is
you have
that
plans to. That's
yes,
awesome.
yes. I mean, the exact
Yeah.
vision is that eventually a protocol of Solana can also send a notification to a user of Ethereum and vice versa. And a user will also be defined by a user who have multiple wallets on L2s and Ethereum and Bitcoin and Aptos or whatever network. And Push will just be the invisible layer that will coordinate everything.
Okay. Rad. And then, s- so you said that they're not you're not incentivized to send messages anymore, which that totally makes sense. But is there an incentive mechanism? Like, do people receive tokens for doing some sort of work?
No, so people
No.
don't. I mean, no, the sender and recipient, they don't receive any tokens now. The recipients receive notification or chat free of cost. The sender basically can also send notification free of cost, but there is this activation fee which is charged in Push. And the idea is that we will charge for premium features, not for these basic features. So imagine if you're sending notifications and you're sending your 10th, like 10 million notifications out. After that, we know that you love the network, your users love the network, then we will charge monthly or yearly fees paid and push on the protocol itself. So that's the idea, kind of like a very Web2 business revenue sort of thing, wherein
Totally. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what it's
yeah,
making me think of. It's kind
yeah,
of like how you pay for like API calls or something once you've hit
yes,
a certain number of them.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
so that's
And
the thing. Yeah.
is that token that is there a push token? And is
Yes.
it an ERC20 token?
Yes, so it's a push token. It's called push only. It's a ERC20 token, and
Okay.
that this was like the business model, like what I explained. This is the first part of the puzzle. What happens is like all this thing that we charge in push or we will charge in push. This basically goes to the protocol itself. It doesn't go to the foundation, and then from the
That was going to be my
protocol,
next question.
yes. Oh, cool. So yeah,
No, 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 keep going. So it goes to the protocol, not to the foundation. Because I'm assuming that
yes,
you have like a protocol and you have a company. That's how a lot of these things are set up, or a foundation or something like
yes,
that. So
yes.
how are they funded? Did you raise money for the foundation? And is that what's funding your development of the protocol? And then how will the foundation be phased out? Like tell me your plans there.
Sure, awesome. So, how are we funded? We closed our Series A like a year back with Jump, Tiger Global, Balaji, Srinivasan, True Ventures, Finance Labs, E Capital, and around 70 of the coolest investors in the Web3 space. That's how we are funded. We sold we sold them tokens to basically fund that. And from day one, what we decided was like we need to keep the fees different, or we need to make sure that the fees flows directly to the protocol, because eventually this is a Web3 protocol that needs to be guided by the community. So what as to my other thing which I was talking about, like the fee pool that goes into the protocol, what happens is that all the fees that Push has begun charging and will charge, all of this goes to the fee protocol or the fee pool in the protocol. And then from there, what happens is a game theory that we have designed, wherein the token holders, they then decide what part of the fee goes to them and what part of the fee goes to the crypto wallets that have integrated Push, making it like a win-win theory among uh, receiver, sender, crypto wallets, and the users of the protocol who are going to be managing the protocol once everything is decentralized. So that's basically how the business revenue model operates. In terms of avoiding push tokens will only be avoided to the validator nodes or people who run the validator nodes, which is a very similar mechanism to proof of stake of Ethereum. So yeah, that's basically the two game theories on which the push token is designed on.
I've been wondering too about the messages. You know, I think you're using IPFS to for the messages, but how do you ensure that they'll stay pinned in the IPFS network? And do you intend for them to be ephemeral, only there for a short period of time, or do you intend for them to be permanent? Like, what are your thoughts there?
Okay, first of all, that's an awesome question, Amy. Um, Love how you knew that IPFS is a caching layer, because not many people know about it. So yeah, exactly, you're right. When we are storing these things on IPFS, the nodes that we have, they pin it. So it's not like that we put them on IPFS and we forget about it. And as I talked about the fee pool, this really ties well. So the idea is that after 10 million notifications, the next ones would be chargeable. But when it comes to messaging, the idea is that after the certain set of messages that you have sent, after that, we will not take the guarantee of the oldest messages. So it's going to be like for the first 1 million messages, we are going to make sure that they are permanent. But in case you're sending more than a million message, then your oldest message will get deepened or unpinned. Unless you are really, really popular and therefore you have to pay in push to the fee pool. And when you pay, you basically buy more pins of your message. So this is basically one of the features that will also come.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. Um, and I'm sure you're familiar with Arweave, which is sort of it's not really similar to IPFS, but it's also for storing data, and it's but it's intended to be permanent, whereas IPFS isn't exactly. Do you have any interest in doing a permanent, in adding permanence like that, or in integrating with Arweave, or do you feel like it makes more sense that it should be optional to be able to go away?
I mean, see, there is pro and con in both. Like, so imagine it like this. I mean, first of all, like push will not only support IPFS, push is uh, storage agnostic. So if we want to store on different mediums, we can. We still can. Like IPFS is one way of storage. Another is just a direct payload, which is getting stored on push node. So RV can also come in the future. But the idea is that eventually push nodes will have storage nodes. So the reliance on IPFS is only because we want to make sure that the system is as decentralized as it can be while it's getting developed. So once we decentralize enough nodes, maybe IPFS will be deprecated. So people can use IPFS or can use the direct mode. So that is one thing. The other thing is tied to the game theory that we have, like 1 million messages we are storing. But once you send 1 million one message, the first message gets unpinned. With iWeave, if that's not the case, then the game theory doesn't fit. Because if we keep it like that, the problem will become that eventually the network will keep on growing bigger without any incentive or any token incentive attached to it, which means that the network will eventually crash. For the network to sustain, especially a communication network, there needs to be a price after X amount of storage. And because of that, we went for IPFS and not RV. But yeah, the eventual plan is that storage nodes will probably take on the onus of getting this storage done, and IPFS will also be deprecated.
You know how Snapchat is known for having the messages essentially disappear after 24 hours? What if I wanted to build an app where I didn't want the messages to stay, or I wanted users to have the option to delete them? Would that be something that I could do?
We are really researching on that because this is very interesting. With blockchain, it's also very, very complex because even if
Mm.
we delete a message or unpin it, it doesn't mean that someone hasn't retrieved it yet. So we do have few interesting research that's going in. One is maybe using encryption that kind of expires, or an encryption wherein you send the encrypted text along with your shard to the node, and the node replies, "This is the message till a time limit." But yeah, it still is not ready yet, so I will not comment more on it. But yeah, it's an interesting use case on how to delete, and we are aware that this needs to be tracked as well.
Yep. The issue of deletion and blockchains is a very
Yes.
interesting
Yes,
topic.
yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
even if we overwrite the file, that doesn't guarantee that the file is not cached somewhere else. So it's very interesting, but I do feel that we'll be able to crack it given enough time.
Okay, cool. Uh, do you have any, successful implementations that you'd like to highlight to the audience?
Oh, definitely. I think very recently we did business to user messaging for Unstoppable. So all domains, all partners of Unstoppable and all 3.7 million of their users, they are able to use push now for notifications and for business to user messaging. That's really, really cool. Another
And is that the only option to use push, or is it like that they have to use it? So, is there a Web 2 version of push that they could use, or they can use push, or is it just like natively integrated and their users wouldn't even know?
Oh, it's natively integrated because these users are just Web3 wallets, right? So there is no Web2 option. Or I mean, personally, I don't really like Web2 options to be connected to Web3 because that basically means that your finance, which is stored on your Web3 wallet, is now getting tied to your email, which I don't recommend as well. And that is like one of the extremely brilliant use case of push. Like your wallet is pseudo anonymous, and let's keep it like that, and let's tie your communication here rather than doxing your email or your Twitter or something else. So yeah, Unstoppable, they use push to enable that. Unstoppable is not the only one, like that is a recent integration. We have several integrations out, including Orb, which is from Lens, or one of the biggest app on Lens. NATO, which is again Web3 social biggest, or one of the most coolest app I've seen on Lens socially, and so many more Web3 social as well. Apart from that, we have around 700 integrations. So we send notifications or messaging for Uniswap, or for Polygon, or for Gitcoin, or for Imify, or for Bankless, or for Coindesk, or for Decentraland. Uh, Around, I mean, yeah, some of the coolest protocols of Ethereum and Polygon. I mean, we are glad that they chose Push. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Sounds like you guys are really, I mean, it makes sense. The protocol sounds really, really like an important piece of the Web3 stack. So I'm stoked for you. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Do you are you able to know how many notifications have been sent to date or how many are being sent per month? Or is it like something that's hard to track? Sometimes analytics in Web3 can be sort of difficult because it's decentralized and all of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, but we know. I think we are able to track notifications sent, just not what notification was sent or what chat was sent, because all of it is end to end encrypted. Or chat is end to end encrypted. Notification is depends on the app if they want to encrypt it or not. We have sent over 48 million notifications till now, and these have landed to around 150,000 subscribers of Web3 till now.
awesome. That's amazing. When did the protocol launch?
Oh, that was 2021, like March of 2021. So yeah, in crypto
Awesome.
years, like it's like 100 years since then. Uh,
Yes, indeed. So, talking about the Web3 protocol stack, one of the things I'm really interested in is what kinds of standards we all need to agree to and sort of collectively use so that we actually have the kind of interoperability that we say that we'll have. And it sounds like that's something that you've been really successful with so far and getting so many different working with so many different protocols and getting so many different applications to use you. Uh, what have you noticed? Are there areas that we need to either work on to have standards, or what standards have you taken advantage of? What are your thoughts around that?
I am conflicted in that because one part of me believes that Web3 is really open, so we should not say that follow these principles or these guidelines. Eventually, the network or the community decides what works or what standard gets adopted. That's why we use Ethereum, not Ethereum Classic. Uh, so, one part of me really believes that standards should be open and should be able to transform, but it should be up to the community to decide. The other part is, of course, you're right. Like with so many standards, eventually it becomes like a marketing race, wherein people who doesn't have really good standards, they might market it well, and with that, it kind of becomes a norm to move away from. But even then, I think the community eventually needs to decide. I would not say like I would just say that we need to talk about standards in public, and we need to definitely see the pros and cons of every standard. But I'll stop. I'll stop short of saying that there needs to be any guided principles, because we have seen, when you have guided principles, how Web to, if even with the best of decisions, it kind of becomes or transforms into something which people doesn't want. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. It's just been one of those things where because we don't have standards, a lot of protocols don't work with one another the way that they should. Or you'll see that there are just there's, one application built on a protocol that's built by the same developers that built the protocol. And it's like, and yet one of the things that we tend to say when we're trying to tell people why Web3 is new and different and important is because of the level of both sovereignty and interoperability that it will give us. And I feel like we're just kind of lagging on that interoperability piece right now. So we'll
I
see where that
agree.
goes.
I 100%
Yeah.
agree. Like, we promise composability and interoperability, and everyone has their own standards which they want to really dominate the world. I think in the short term, this I mean, there is no solution to it in short term, because how do you say that person or a project's protocol is right and another project's protocol is wrong? I think the
Hmm.
best way is community, even if it takes a lot of pain for the community to finally know that a protocol is worth it or not. I would just say to all the Web3 projects that they need to make sure that they're not following a standard just because they have to. They need to know their requirements, and based on that make the decision. So in the medium to long term, the best standards they eventually win. And I mean, this is really a shout out to some of the coolest Web3 protocols that do that. I mean, when we started, which was back in 2020, and we started from a hackathon project, one of the first integration or partnership that we had, or we call them like friends of Push now, was Uniswap. And I don't think it was because of what we did, it was because of their awesomeness that they chose to give communication or this new protocol a try. And I think if every protocol does that, eventually the best standard will come out and that will win.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, back when they were building, Sir Tim Berners-Lee was organizing Web 1, they call them recommendations, not standards, right? The web is the standards that we use on the web are actually recommendations. And so long
I
as you
didn't know
comply with this
that.
very minimum set of standards, it still works. And so I totally agree with you that it should be as open as possible. But the question is, what is that minimum still for Web3 to work that you actually need to conform to be, part of Web3? We'll see, I guess. Okay, so now zooming out, what is your vision for Web3? How will it be different in 5 years, 10 years? Once mainstream users are on Web3, what will their day to day life be like? And how will that be different than what it's like today?
I mean, if Web3 is adopted, then the way Web3 would be is that it will be invisible, just like Web2 is invisible. Like, for instance, we are using at least 4 or 5 protocols while we record this and while we stream this: HTTPS, and there's WebRTC, and there will probably be 1 or 2 more streaming protocols that are involved. But we don't know that. What I did was I landed on a URL, I signed in with my name, and we are talking. Even I don't know that this is getting recorded, but everything is automatical, right? I think once we get to that point in 5 to 10 years, that is what I would say or define as success for Web3. And that is where I think we are headed with account abstraction, or with UI, or with even communication. Like, one of the reasons that we focused on communication was because of this lack of UI and UX in Web3. Um, so I think a lot of people have realized this now, that a billion user, they do not equal a million devs. Like, devs are like me and a lot of other developers who take pride in digging deeper in documentation or code to find how things work. Users are very different. Users, they don't have time. Their job is not development. So what they want to do is they want to basically put their money in a global bank, let's say, or utilize, put their voice out through governance, or buy some NFT because they love that community, and that's it. They just want the product to work. They are not in it for the tech. So I do feel that we are stepping in the right direction by abstracting the tech away. In Web3 we kind of had this saying like, you interact with the smart contract, you better read it. This is not that is not scalable. Like, if you expect me to read every smart contract, I'm not going to interact with one or two, and that is coming from someone who understands smart contract. So I don't think users will. So I think we are going in the right direction by making Web3 more user friendly and focusing on user and product, and moving away from tech, at least when we talk to users. Like, tech can be a part of core circle and DevCon and all the conferences or developer conferences that we do. But all the rest of the conferences, when our goal is to reach a billion users, I think we definitely need to point out that this doesn't work. Like, the first time I tried MetaMask, it was it was like one action I wanted to do, and that was like 20 interactions because I had to learn seed words and I had to call my friends and then I have to give them that. Then I have to go and find out, okay, what is off ramp, on ramp. Then I had to go to centralized exchange, buy something, do a KYC, get Ethereum on MetaMask, and then thank God that protocol didn't require their own tokens. So then I was able to interact with it. So I think that is going, and that is what I see in 5 to 10 years. Like, we will just log in and everything will be seamless. In innovation side, I think we have already won with creator economy and with making sure that the economy goes to people who are actively contributing. Like, if you run some software or if you are in governance, you basically get the fee, not the protocol or not the corporate, just because they have done some invention. So I think that that thing we got right, and now we are getting this UI UX fixed. So probably in 5 or 10 years time, I'll open a bank account without any papers, and that bank account in itself, it will be a wallet, and I will not know about it. And hopefully the notification will come from push, and still people will not know that that is Web3. So yeah.
Oh man, that'll be amazing to open a bank account without having to go to a bank or ever interact with a bank. That will be so amazing. I
Yes.
totally agree that Web3 will be invisible, as you say. That's a great way to explain it, and automagical. What I wonder is if you have any ideas of what the milestones might be along our path to getting there. Like, is there anything that those of us who are working in the space should look out for to say, like, oh, hey, that that's meaningful. Like, you know, we're things are changing.
Sure. I think scalability, like what we are doing with L2s or even other non-EVMs, what they are trying, or other EVM projects, what they are trying, that would be very cool. I also think account abstraction. Uh, Once we get to a point wherein the account abstraction is socially recoverable, that would be cool. I think that is happening. So these are not the future milestones. Scalability, maybe yes. I do think that we are still L2s are still trying and still checking it out. So yeah, scalability and account abstraction. I think those are the things that will pave the way. Also AI and also communication. Like, both, like, these are the four pillars that I feel is very important. Like, AI in the sense that we don't realize, but when we go to YouTube or Spotify, they basically tell us like, this is the song that you want to listen to. And I think Web3 will head to that direction, wherein Web3 will know that you have these apps. That means that you like these events. These are the things that you can do. Or you interact with DeFi. So maybe this is a protocol that you want to interact with. or even when you are interacting with the contract, just reading or running AI through it to transform that hex string into human readable format. Those things I think we are doing, and the more we will do it, the more I'll say uh, they act like a check mark in getting the milestone to a invisible Web3.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like it. Okay. Uh, where is Push based?
Push is actually now very global, though me and my co-founder, we are based in Dubai now. The team is really, really global. We started during the COVID days, and we started from India. So because of COVID, of course, it was all remote from day one. And I think that worked really well because now we have team members in US and Europe, in Asia, of course. And what it does is, I think it brings on that culture wherein you are able to understand developers, or you are able to understand different interfaces, because the team can come together and they are coming from different cultures. So they know that, you have to present things in a more international way. So yeah,
Mhm.
push is global, but the co-founders, we are based out of Dubai.
And do you have regulatory concerns being global or being or specifically where you are? Are there certain places that you're not allowing push to be used or people to get push tokens or what are your thoughts around regulation?
Got it. So I mean, push can be used everywhere because it's just a communication layer. Push tokens, of course, that basically what, based on our lawyers, we exclude various jurisdiction. Uh, so yeah, till the clarity becomes clear. So yeah, that's there. But push is listed on various exchanges worldwide. Uh, I am not very
Is the
sure
US excluded?
from push as a token. Not
Hmm.
really. Though
No.
we haven't been in any US exchanges yet. Like we haven't been listed in any US exchange yet. Though we are talking to like the major ones. So it's not like that we are not keen on getting listed or we are shying away from it. Uh, I think being a utility token works, but yeah, whenever we choose to get listed, before that we definitely will run that through our lawyers just to make sure that everything is very, very clear. Uh, uh, I think on the regulatory side, uh, one of the reasons why me and my founder, we took the decision to move from India to Dubai was this the regulatory clarity in India, especially in 2020, was not very clear. I think what is happening in US right now. And it was not like, I mean, our lawyers and our VCs basically told us one thing, which was very, very hard to refute, which was that, okay, you know that uh, uh, the legal framework is not very clear at this point, and let's say, even if everything is by the books, do you want to stay in a jurisdiction wherein you will have to engage in a lawyer or engage in legal procedures uh, in case something comes, which is, or in case something comes which is negative in terms of regulation? Or would you rather move to Singapore or Dubai where you have this regulatory clarity and therefore you don't have to worry about legal basis, especially when you're growing your startup? I think that was the time when a lot of Indian projects they moved, not because of tokens or not. It was just that, you know, as a startup, you want to focus a lot on the product. You want to compete and you want to gain a lot of market share, not worry about the legal process. So I think that's a similar thing that is happening in US right now. Uh, I would say India, basically in G20, they said that they want to make crypto regulated. That's a very, very cool thing that they have done. And I would say US would also need to move in that direction, because I mean, the beauty of crypto is its mathematical proof, right? And it doesn't mean that if I don't prove this mathematical equation in US, it doesn't mean that this can be proven anywhere across the world. Or it means that I mean, you get the point, right? It's a mathematical equation.
Absolutely, yeah.
US cannot ban it because anywhere across the world or the universe, I can do the same thing. So the best way is to regulate it, and it will also attract like startup talents. I have seen Dubai becoming the crypto hub, more so because it attracted a lot of crypto devs, and that is an opportunity for India, especially in the Asia region, and that is an opportunity for US, especially with the innovations coming from there. So yeah, uh, that's my stand on regulations. Like, make it happen, but don't make it or don't do it in a way wherein it's wherein you apply 1940s law to something which never existed. So it's kind of like you're saying that you cannot basically apply laws of driving a car to driverless cars, right? Or applying laws related to riding horses to cars, is the same way you cannot really apply laws that were made before people thought that this is something that is possible. That doesn't work. Like, it's very similar to saying that a driverless car crashed, and now you apply this law uh, of driving cars, or you apply laws of manual car driving to driverless cars. Like, it's absurd and it doesn't work. So instead of going back and saying that in 1940s we knew what crypto would be, it will be much better if valid laws to crypto is applied, so that people are protected from scams, and you can usher in a new era of innovation.
Yeah, that was really well said. Um, I like the analogy of driving cars and to driverless cars and it's fascinating to hear that you actually moved to a more friendly jurisdiction so that you could focus on your product and not be as concerned with regulatory issues because we're based in the US and when we speak with lawmakers here we tell them that that's a very serious threat that we're facing, that crypto is, there's no heavy machinery that's going to have to move, there's no infrastructure that's going to have to move, it's just, you can take your laptop and go somewhere else that's more welcoming. And so to hear that you actually did it is really interesting because I think a lot of the lawmakers here think, oh, you know, we're just bluffing or something like that. But it's a very, very real threat. So yeah,
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, trust me, like, I've seen that from India's side of view. Uh, like, we would, I mean, and this is the thing that people don't realize. Like, once you make a move, right, you basically move your entire lifestyle, and you basically move your, or you uproot your life. And after that, it becomes
mhm.
very hard to return back. So, like, I'm so bullish on India, and I love India, and I want to. And now there is clarity also. So, it's really a no brainer for me. But because now what we have established is here, most of the team members are here, it's very hard for us to abandon and go back. So I've seen that with a lot of projects, and even with us. Yeah, that's one thing you have to realize. Like, when someone is doing a startup, uh, in their mind, the startup is like their baby, right? And they want
Mhm.
to give as much time to their baby as they can, and you cannot stop it. Like, the only way you can stop crypto is if you cut off internet, and only then you will stop it for yourself, because the moment internet is back on, everything will sync, and again, you cannot stop that. So best way is to make ways or make regulations that embrace it, because
Mhm.
I mean, what crypto did, and this is something like it did it for me. Like I started push from a very small town in India. Like I never thought that that will become a global phenomenon, and or that will become global. And the thing is, all I required was an internet connection and an idea. And this
Hmm.
is the case with anyone who's building, like who's building global banks. Now they don't have to say that, let me try this game theory. They can just program it, and community basically sees that I love how this works. So they will just go towards it. So it's not like you are going to stop inventions or innovations. And it's very unlike US in a way, because US have been the hub of innovations for a very long time. So I'm not
Hmm.
very sure like why crypto is. I mean, I know because crypto is finances, so it's very hard to let power go. But I think the way we are going, or the way we are growing, one way or the other, it will happen. And the best thing is that it happens in your country. That would be amazing for people who want to be in this technology, because if there's no way to stop something, it's better to regulate it so that people are protected from scams rather than banning it. So yeah, especially and
Completely agree.
yeah. And in
Yeah,
India,
completely agree.
the thing is, in India, when you ban something, more people start using it. So I also go with that analogy. Like, don't ban something. It's just like people are curious, so they will start using it more.
Mhm. So true. Yeah, you see that with everything. I have a baby and it's like the forbidden stuff is always the stuff that's the most
Yeah.
interesting, you know? Um, okay, where can people find you? On Twitter, on Push, on whatever? Tell us where you want to send people to find you and your
Sure.
protocol.
So push.org, that's the best place to start. If you're on Twitter, you can follow me at Harsh Rajat, HRSHRHAT. If you want to follow Push Protocol, it's Push Protocol itself. Best is go to push.org, push.org, scroll down, and from there either go to Twitter or Discord, or try our app out, or try our protocol documentation, whatever.
Awesome. Okay, well, this has been a fantastic chat. To the audience, remember to like, share, subscribe. We really appreciate your support. And final question for you, Harsh, is the name of our show. What kind of internet do you want?
Uh, an open one. Definitely an open, interoperable, incentivized internet.
Excellent. It's been great talking with you. Thanks so much.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Amy. Thanks for having me. I had great fun.